can I make a beat with sounds that I already had before? So right now I made a beat earlier and the video messed up. And you know, the new way that the track system is set up, you already have your other tracks. So right now I'm adding just the OPX and I'll have 4 tracks. Can we make a beat with just 4 tracks and sounds that we have already? I believe that we can. Right now I'm going to load up one of my chord progressions. I'm going to use my Smackers kit. You could get that from the OTG Stimmy Pack. You could get these chord progressions that I'm going through now. You could get that through the OTG Stimmy Pack. What I'm going to do is grab a chord progression. We might use one of the new plugins, one of the presets for effects, and we're going to see what we could get. What's going on, guys? It's your brother OTG, Charles Paris. The OTG's for Overtime Grind. Hardly seen, but I'm always around. And today I have my Akai MPC Live 2, and I'm just going to make a beat with 4 tracks. I made a beat earlier with 3 tracks because you can make a beat with 3 tracks, just your main sound, your drums, and your bass. Essentially, I'm going to do that again, but I wanted to use a different sound. Also, you know, I'm working on my camera, so I finally got the whites to show up on the camera. The OPX showed up. You know, I told you guys, we're working here, we're working. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment. Make sure you hit the notification bell so that way you can get an alert for all my newest videos. So right now we have a chord progression laid down. We use one of our chord progressions. You know, we're going to fix the timing. That's what I'm doing now. We're going to fix the velocity. You know, if you select all of them, you can fix the velocity all at one time. Now I'm going to go over to my effects. I'm going to go down to delay and reverb, and I'm going to add sprite, air sprite. I'm just going to leave that preset on so you can see it's the very first preset. And look, you can actually see it. It's no longer whited out. Make sure you check out everything I have at the Gumroad store because that's a major move and a major come up for this channel. You know, almost everything that had a bright screen never showed up, and now we got it working. I got it working. So now I'm going to add a bass. You know, this is a bass that I had from Sub Factory. It was from the prior beat that I had on Sequence 1. And I'm going to play the first beat and the second beat so that way you can hear it. We're going to make this beat right now, and then I'm going to play the second beat so you can see on 2 different sequences we have 2 different arrangements utilizing the same exact sounds. Same bass, same drums, same sounds. So right now I'm going to go, I played a little early, I'm going to hit shift and cut. I'm going to take out that last note, put it on the 1. This is our bass line. You can see everything's already named as I work backwards. Pad. So I had homage loaded. I could essentially make this beat without this forced sound, but I want to just add it to add in some variation. So I'm going to play it. This is an A that I'm playing. I'm going to add that in right there. And you can see, so homage, heavens. This is the same preset that I was just using on track 1. And so now we're going to go over. You can see the Smackers kit is already loaded. We're going to build our drums out now. I love my Smackers kit. I use this kit all the time. You could go get that kit and other things. Like I said, part of the OTG Stimmy Pack. It's probably one of the biggest things I have on my store is the OTG Stimmy Pack. It works for all Akai MPCs and the Force. Also, my SP404 Stimmy Pack. And, you know, you get over $100 worth of stuff for $25. Can't beat it. I don't know, I'll eventually move up the price, but right now I might keep it like this at least till after the 4th. Alright, so now I am in my notes window and I am playing in my drums. I like to stack all my drums on one track because if I want to go and erase anything later, I could just utilize pad mutes. We utilize pad mutes and we can mute whatever we want when we want it. You know, so right now I'm just going to lay these hi-hats down. We lay them down in a 16th. Beats like this, I think they're really dope when you just have the hi-hats go straight. So now we got a basic drum pattern going. You know, one of the things I was saying in the Force video, can you just use 3 tracks? Yes, you could just use 3 tracks on the Akai Force on the MPC. 3 tracks, 4 tracks is super basic. You know, and most of the songs that you love and most of the producers that you emulate or idolize are only using 5 tracks or less. They have their drums, they have their bass, they have their sample, they probably have another sound, and maybe another one. So it's always a great practice of hopping in and just trying to make beats with the least amount of sounds as possible. You know, to me, that's keeping it hip hop. That's keeping it grassroots. You know, a lot of stuff nowadays is overproduced. You know, too many drop-offs, too many filter sweeps, just too much going on. And the average fan is not a producer. So, you know, like I tell people that I work with on a regular basis, either you're making beats for producers or you're making beats for fans. If you're making beats for producers, then producers will appreciate all of the sweeps and different sounds and, you know, the weird arrangements of, you know, in the middle of the 12 bars, you got drum build-ups and snare rolls and all kinds of different things going on. But if you're making beats for fans, casual listening, or potentially for artists and things of that nature, then the reality is, you know, most of that stuff is super simple, bro. And no matter how hard you want it to be, complex you want it to be, it's still super simple. All right. And so we'll let this play. This is our 4-track beat that we got right now. And this is out of the same exact sounds that I loaded for another beat. And I'll show you, you know, we will go to the first beat. And when I go to that first beat, you'll see it has all the same sounds. This is also a setup, the setup for the videos we have coming later this year on how you can make 5 and 6 and 7 beats in one project. You know, you could essentially curate an EP for an artist out of one project if you do it properly, especially if you choose your sounds and do everything the right way. So here's sequence 1. Here was the beat that I made in my first video that you guys didn't get to hear. So you can see I loaded the Smackers kit. I loaded up Homage. It's the same one. I loaded up Subfactory. We used that same bass in our second beat. The only thing that I added was the OPX4, and that is because, you know, I wanted a different pad sound and I wanted to add some effects to it. But on the flip side, things like this provide consistency. So if I was to make 10 sequences and at the most added in maybe 5 plugins, a couple key groups, the consistency, I could make a whole EP that would sound consistent from start to finish. And we could create different kinds of sounds, different kinds of feels, but the consistency from the mix to the types of sounds to everything, the arrangements would all be consistent from start to finish. So this one workflow tip, you know, in MPC3, they gave us the new track view of how they set up the tracks. This way could still be utilized to make a lot of different beats. And yes, the final answer, you can make multiple beats out of utilizing the same sounds in one project. Hopefully this inspires you to try it. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment. Make sure you check out everything in the description. That definitely helps this channel. The least you could do is share it to somebody else who's on an MPC and help them get inspiration into creating and staying positive about what we could do with these tools. It's your brother OTG. The OTG's for Overtime Grind. I'm on my MPC Live too, and we got another one.